2. So we're gonna look at Unit 2. It's a part that we have covered already in the workshops. So I'm going to run through it and quickly highlight a few items for you. So you would have submitted your first Unit 1's informal assessment earlier, and I hope everyone managed to submit it successfully. Okay, just looking at Unit 2, we're looking at organization and structure of the construction companies. So it's like I said in the workshops, this is more overview to look at how the construction industry in South Africa looks, and because this section is covered more broadly in COMR with Mr. Alf Deacon. Okay, so we're going to look at the management principles, leadership styles, project teams, team building, the sizes of construction firms, and characteristics of firms. So we're going to focus on chapter 2 and 4 of the study material of the textbook. Okay, so first things first, here's a video that you guys can have a look at, and it's all about management and looking at how different perspectives are giving you different perspectives on different management styles. Okay, so getting into chapter 2, we look at contract planning. Chapter 2 is about the UK, so what we're trying to do here is to draw some similarities, and you will see that I've highlighted some South African items in here as well. So chapter 2 is all about the UK contracts, and thus not that important, but however it defines a contract as a means to formalize the relationship between the contracting parties. Okay, so so you can go through that. I'm going to look at South African contracts as well. Which is applicable though is that the contracts in South Africa does ask for certain planning methods. So okay, this is important. The terms dictate what sort of program is used. Some contracts specify what information is needed. It may also dictate how the information is presented. Okay, for instance, your program, certain contracts ask for different information. For instance, the JBCC doesn't give very much detail of how your program should look, whereas the NEC has very specific guidelines. Okay, so just looking at the South African contracts, you probably know about this, and we've discussed this in the workshop. So we've got the JBCC, GCC, NEC, and FIDIC used in South Africa. The JCT is the one focused in the study guideline. I don't think any of you work on roads, but the Colto contract is still used in South Africa, especially the road builders still like to use it. And then there's other bespoke contracts, especially you guys in Midrand, that works with RDP housing and that type of things. Okay. Then the Construction Industry Development Board, just a couple of items. The CIDB endorses 4 contracts. Those are the contracts that I highlighted earlier. Please note that these are still the old contracts. The 2017 FIDIC came out, and then the NEC 4 is also now the new contracts being used. Okay, then for instance, that example which I highlighted earlier, this is the specific criteria that the NEC asks for. Okay, in comparison with the JBCC, which just specifies that that there should be a approved program in place. Okay, so chapter 4 is about construction planning, programming, and control. So here we're getting a little bit into the meat of things. So construction planning, programming, and controls, FOIL 7 principles, very important. These principles for me, please have a look. Forecasting and planning, organization, commanding or directing, controlling, coordinating, motivating, and communicating, which encompasses them all. Okay, so please note that these criteria you would have to be able to explain in more broad views, so you can have a look on page 53 of your textbooks. Okay, forecasting. Forecasting involves the preparation of financial forecast, company annual returns, company cash flows, and then the one that I highlighted, which is applicable, individual project plans of cash flows. These ones are more applicable to COMR, and then resource forecasts are staffing and key laborers that one should look at. Organization. Organization is the grouping of work and allocation of duties, responsibilities, and authorities. You can see again the one that I highlighted, which is important, is the organization structure towards projects. Okay, so please go through these, the others, just to put it in perspective against your project structure. Okay, commanding and control. Here we get to commanding is giving instructions to implement agreed policies. Authority should be granted. This is very important. Whenever you appoint someone and he doesn't have authority to do anything, his hands are basically tied behind his back. Control. Control project costs, monthly reporting. Okay, so again, looking at the aspect of the project and not the company. Okay, coordination, motivation. Okay, motivation rules you should highlight for me and know about as well. Coordinate between personnel, motivation, items like pay, security, recognition, promotion, no blame culture, company training, and so on. This relates to the atmosphere within the company. Okay, communication, it all boils down to common sense. I think in the workshops, the example that I used is if you see anything is unsafe, or if it doesn't make sense, you can phone the structural engineer, for instance, if you're unsure about structural items, phone the civil engineer about levels, phone the architect about aesthetical or design items, but please make sure and rather ask a stupid question than not asking a question at all and then being red-faced if things is wrong. Okay, so then the chapter just looks at different leadership styles, and then the body of knowledge defines leadership as the ability to empower and inspire people to achieve project success. Partington defines leadership as it comes from the involvement, participation, empowerment of followers. So emphasis on empowerment. Okay, then I just highlighted some leadership styles. So please know this, what the difference is between an autocratic leader, like a Steve Jobs, the guys that want to be a little bit more in control, and a democratic one which listens to everyone, someone more like Obama. Okay, so please know what the difference is. Then the project teams. Construction work is project based. Multidisciplinary teams are of people working together. Collaboration is not not that embedded in the South African environment yet. Burke defines teamwork. The aim is to bring people together to increase the effectiveness without the loss of their individuality. Okay, then the project management themes define it as teamwork is when people work collaboratively towards a common goal. Teams grow until they subdivide. Okay, just another thing on team building. Team building at base, construction teams are temporary. Usually they have a core team. Some people perform better as individuals. The comment about getting cold, wet, and muddy has truth in it. It is about commitment. Okay, then just looking at the sizes. Okay, so you have small firms, fair size, large business, very large business. This is okay. Then just a few examples. Small firms are the principal responsible for the principal is responsible for everything. Organized organizations according to functionality. Delegation may be a challenge for the principal, but basically you have two levels of management. you have the principal, and then the implementation people, the construction site manager maybe, and the subcontractors. Okay, then looking at medium firms, a little bit more complex. You have policies that starts playing a role, safety, welfare, company controls and reporting, planning procedures, etc. Okay, so you've got your principal director, contract manager, construction managers, and then you've got your subcontractors underneath these guys, and then they basically your construction managers organization of subcontractors, resources, and individual project, short team, procedure, weekly report, and so on. That goes to the contracts manager, and he reports back to the director. Okay, the director usually focuses on financial, contract performance, client contracts, responsibility, and coordination. This is now for the contract manager. He has a certain role, looks at the reports, and makes decisions on what to be done. So you can see that's basically the trend. If you go to a larger program or organization, it's just exactly that the previous one, just escalated more. So there's more emphasis on specialization, emphasis is placed on key dates, bonuses, etc. Okay, so please have a look at the specializations depending on what type of construction firm it is and how large the company is. Okay, the business unit approach is basically the same, but it's just your business is just divided into such a manner that the organization are divided according to the work, and not within a region, but also countrywide. So the role of the business manager is taken by a senior construction manager, or it is shared between the construction manager and the senior QS. Okay, and it looks typically like this. Your business units usually divided in different units according to the work. Business unit 6 manager, you have your contracts manager, and you have project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4. So the units may be anything like looking at civil work or looking at building work. One might be roads or whatever. It depends on how your units are structured. Then in the very large firms may have a subdivision of that things, but this is more or less an example. You may have a Bloemfontein office in a central region, and then Kimberley Kuruman as one office, and the Bloemfontein region as another office. You have a manager for them, then you have a regional manager for each, and you've got the building managers, project managers, material coordination, site engineers, and so forth. And then they might between them share some functions. For instance, if the one has a professional QS on the one side, he may be used in either region to look at certain aspects, or if there's maybe contractual challenges or anything like that. Okay. So your large firms, divisions are created to cater for different products, e.g. As listed on page 65 and 66. The divisions are created to group work according to the functionality, project services, geographical location, customers, capital, and projects. And then some examples are given in on page 68. Okay, and then the second part of that video of motivation you can have a look at. So you probably have watched both of them already. Okay, thank you, and that's unit 2. So yeah, please go through it. I'll post the informal assessment shortly for you guys. Thank you. Bye.